Hello to all epic gamers. My name is Stratus and I'm streaming Croven versus Stax for the XY Cash Tour. This is, I think, either round of 8 or round of 16, but I think it's round of 8. And they just began game 1. So Stax has some whack-ass Zard Raichu stuff, and Croven bringing the same team that got him through the last round, which is Abomasnow, Hoopa, Full Trick Room. So, in the round of 16, when Croven faced Zard with this team, he beat it by using Trick Room and then winning with Hoopa and Heatran. Similar tactic will probably work here, but it may be a bit harder because Stax seems to have Trick Room of his own, perhaps even two setters with Cress and Jellicent, but I would not be surprised if this is CM Icy Wind Cress and Trick Room Jellicent. On Stax's side, he's got Fake Out and Raichu to help disrupt Croven's plans, although Jellicent can still set on Fake Out. And in fact, he doesn't seem to have great ways to beat Jellicent. So, I'm interested to see how this game goes. Croven just leads Lando Rotom, which is the Memoric Classic, while Stax leads Charizard Jellicent, and I think Croven's in a good position here. Now, if I remember correctly, the Rotom is Scarf, the Landorus is AV. But since this is probably not max speed Charizard, considering the team composition, it's still threatened by Rock Slide. I don't think like a Rock Slide plus T-Bolt will kill the Jellicent, because Jellicent's really fat. But first of all, he's got the 27% flinch chance, and it would definitely chunk the Jellicent, which doesn't seem to have much it can do here because it doesn't really want to set Trick Room against Croven's full TR team. So I think Stax was trying to counter lead a TR set, and then Croven just didn't lead one of his setters, and now he's got Stax on the back foot. Now Stax has options, specifically going Lando or Rotom, or Raichu here, I mean, which will both help against the Lando Rotom, but he's going to have to probably switch turn 1, which is not a situation you really ever want to be in. And Jellicent does go to Lando. Charizard protects without Mega Evolving. And Croven uses Volt Switch with Rotom, which moved faster than Lando, all but revealing Scarf. Revealing Scarf into Volt Switch against a Raichu is a bold strategy. He's probably going to have to just hard switch next turn. And he U-turns and gets a free switch into what? Jellicent. Jellicent is going to take a chunk from a Solar Beam, assuming Stax Mega Evolves Solar Beams and switches Lando into Raichu, which is the only play that really makes sense on Stax's end. But it would live and get a Trick Room off, which would be helpful for Croven. Oh, he does not. He switches Zard. And Croven hard outs the Jellicent, but lets Raichu redirect Volt Switch. There's a lot of switching going on in this game. We've seen, what, 4 switching moves, 2 hard switches, and Cresselia comes in a very threatening position. Rotom has to hard switch. It has no other option. Raichu can fake out the Landorus. Cresselia can Icy Wind or Calm Mind. And Hoopa is Croven's best switch in here. It shrugs off Cresselia's special hits with its high special defense. He could also go Heatran. He went Abomasnow. Now that I did not expect, as Raichu doesn't fake out Landorus and just Volt Switches. Stax may be thinking Croven's obviously going to protect the Lando, but I would have stayed in too with Lando. And he gets a U-turn off. So Croven manages to get out of that terrible situation. Now he's in a better but not great one. He's probably going to get Icy Winded here, whatever he sends in. So I don't think Rotom is the right play. But I'm not sure what the right play is. He does go Rotom, and Stax just Calm Minds. Now Scarf Rotom is probably KO'd by Orlando Superpower because it's a super frail Pokemon. But I don't think Stax is going to go for that. If he Scarf Lando Jolly, then he can just U-turn on the Scarf Rotom for free. Otherwise, he's going to have to hard switch or risk eating a Hydro Pump for a KO. On Croven's side, he's probably going to want to burn the Cresselia to mitigate its ability to clean his team. Now, he does have the Hoopa, so... Or he could trick it if he's got Trick. He does have options for dealing with the Cresselia, but you never want to wait too late and then get harassed by like a +3 Crest spamming Icy Winds and Psychics. So it'll be interesting to see what Croven does here. Jellicent can come in for Landers pretty freely unless Croven makes a super hard read. It is Croven, so that's possible. He goes Raichu instead. Redirecting a Volt Switch onto the Cresselia, and then chunking the Rotom with Psychic. Now it should die to even a Fake Out plus Hail damage, so... Rotom is gone. It is dead. And without the Scarf Rotom, I don't actually know if that has a significant impact on Croven's ability to execute his game plan. But at the very least, Stax is going to be happy that his Lando is now the fastest thing on the field. Which means, you know, Rock Slide end games or all that fun Lando stuff. Now Raichu can fake out either of these Pokemon. Rotom is not a threat, obviously, so it hard switches. Does he fake out the Abomasnow? He endeavors the Abomasnow, and it dies to Psychic. Now that is neat. I wasn't even thinking about Endeavor Raichu, but that's cool. Hoopa being Citrus Berry, probably. It's not Safety Goggles because it took hail damage. Could eat an Endeavor and still get Trick Room up or kill the Cresselia or whatever it needs to do. And obviously Jellicent's immune to Endeavor, so this isn't going to stop a TR set, but at the very least it took out the Mega Abomasnow, which helps Cresselia greatly because now its Moonlight isn't going to be nerfed by Hail for the rest of the game. I don't think Mega Abomasnow is necessarily making deep inroads into Stax's team, but he is up 6-4 now. And that's always nice. You know, just reduce your switch options if nothing else. Croven really needs to get momentum back. He needs to get Trick Room up because Stax's team is faster and just absolutely a pain in his ass. He should probably go to Jellicent and kill the Crest. He doesn't. I was going to say kill the Crest with Hoopa and TR with Jellicent. But he doesn't. He goes to Lando, and this is almost certainly not Scarf, so Raichu is faster and can Volt Switch out. It'll be interesting to see whether Raichu does that or just endeavors and accepts its fate. I think it's probably able to do more in this game. If Croven gets a TR set, Stax is going to want it for Fake Out to burn turns. So I do not think he's going to sack Raichu here, but he does. So, you know, never ask me to make a read. And Croven gets his Trick Room finally. He's got two slower mons in Stax right now. Jellicent can't unset for Stax because it will die to a Hyperspace unless it gets Intimidate on the Hoopa, which is a risky proposition. And Croven probably wants to switch Jellicent right back out to keep its HP up. I mean, he could, like, recover with it. Raichu isn't a threat. These are two super fat Pokemon. Even with +1 special attack, Volt Switch is not going to kill either of these. But I would switch Jellison out if I were Croven and do either a Rotom sack or Lando if he hard reads no Endeavor. But he needs a way to prevent Hoopa from getting intimidated such that Jellison can reverse TR. And I'm struggling to see how he does it. Also note that the Jellicent did not take hail damage, so it is Goggles. Which, there's no Spore user on Stax' team, so I don't know how much he cares. But it means it's not any other item. And Raichu lives a Scald because Jellicent's really frail. Oh, it was Assault Vest. Croven's really wishing he hadn't stolen that item. Because now he can't now he can't use TR with Hoopa anymore. So Jellicent's his only Trick Room user. And Stax just staying in with Cresselia is interesting at first, but it really makes sense when you think about it, because it's not making any headway on Hoopa or Tran. Rotom is already dead, Abomasnow is already dead, so really the only thing it's even good for is Lando. And the Zard comes in. Zard takes nothing from Jellicent. It threatens both of these Pokemon pretty hard. Sacking Raichu to get in Zard. On the one hand, I still don't know if sacking Raichu was the play, but on the other hand, Zard's in. So yeah, Scald doing absolutely jack shit. Oh, but Hyperspace Fury kills because he didn't switch Crest out. Oh, wow. You forget how strong Unintimidated Hoopa is because it's always intimidated. But Unintimidated Hoopa is really strong. It's got 170 base attack. That's a 100 base power move, even without a boosting item. That just fucking dropped that Zard. Does make me wonder if the Zard wasn't defensive because, like, it lives Kang Return, which I would, on gut say is stronger than the Hoopa. But defensive Zard lives Kang Return. Now Lando is in. Crest is still threatened with a KO here at -1, and Croven just goes for it. Oh, but he gets the burn on the Jelly. That's nice. Oh, he goes for a Hoopa on the Lando. Interesting. So, I think Croven's Jelly has no other attacks. It's going to want to Wisp the Crest here. Oh, it's going to want to recover here. Dodges a Wisp, easy peasy, and disables Icy Wind, which doesn't seem too relevant unless that was Crest's only attack. No, it had Psychic, of course. So Croven's Heatran could be Goggles or Shucka, and if it's Shucka, obviously he can stay on Stax and Earth Power here. As for Jellicent, it's not threatened by either of these Pokemon, but he really wants to Wisp the Crest as early as possible because the longer this goes on, the more likely he is to lose to a surprise CM Crest sweep. I know he thinks he's got it covered, but there's really nothing he can lose by Wisping it at this point. Either it stays in or switches to Lando, and either of those are a big win for him. You don't really want to hard read a Trans switch and Wisp that. So I really think Croven just should make the obvious play here. I don't know what Stax's play is. It's another CM apparently, and Toxic on the Jellicent as Croven gets Trick Room. So now Stax's Heatran is even more threatened. I'm assuming something else on the team is Goggles and his Heatran is Shucka. But he could be running double Goggles or even triple Goggles. Well, it wouldn't surprise me with double. Single Goggles on just the Crest. Yeah, it's Shucka. Would make more sense though. And Croven is Goggles Heatran, which means it's dead. Now Hoopa can come in. Wisp Miss on Crest was helpful to Stax, of course. But I feel like he got unlucky earlier in the game, and I don't remember where. So I'll say that's even. Jellicent can Scald Heatran for a KO as Hoopa attacks Crest. Let's see if that's what he does. Heatran switches to Lando, and Lando dies. Wow. Stax is absolutely getting plowed by this Hoopa here. Icy Wind is, even at +2 special attack, going to be like a 5-hit KO on Hoopa. So I really think Croven's got this game locked up. He can just hyperspace the Tran to kill it. It lived. Wow. Oh, Icy Wind was a 4-hit KO, not a 5-hit KO. My apologies. And now I'm wondering, is the CM Crest endgame going to work out? It's closer than I expected, because Croven ignored it for too long and missed a crucial wisp. Now, if he just wisped the Crest like 8 or 9 turns ago when he had a chance, he obviously wouldn't be in this situation, because you're just removing Crest's free turns when you wisp it. It has to Moonlight so much more frequently just to stay healthy, and it really doesn't get the chance to do anything. But he didn't, and now he's paying the price. I'm assuming this Lando can take a single Icy Wind, and he's going to U-turn on Crest to get the chip. Rotom's going to come in and try and wisp it, or trick it if he has Trick. Although I don't even know if Trick would be a good move. He might just want to T-Bolt it. Heatran's dead. He's got to use a hyperspace move on Heatran. He can't let it attack because it will kill Hoopa. Yeah. And Icy Wind's going to be a 2-hit KO on Lando, so that's scary, and it's Helmet Crest. So a single hyperspace attack from Hoopa will kill it. Oh, now this is an interesting endgame. What Croven may want to do is, he doesn't seem to want to do it. Never mind, he won. Croven won. Alright. I was thinking that Stax would recover with his Crest and then let Hoopa die on Helmet Recoil, but he didn't. What I was going to say is what Croven may want to do is hard switch Hoopa back out to Lando to reset Intimidate. So in the end, stealing the Assault Vest with Magician is how Croven won that game, because he needed the vest to live all those boosted Icy Winds. That's an interesting plot twist. Croven doesn't have other teams, so I'm interested to see what he uses game 2. I'm gonna expect he just brings Thoughts or goes right back to Abomasnow for game 2. Stax likes Gar and Kang mostly. I was surprised to see a Zard pick from him. And now he's back to a comfort pick with Gar. Oh, so Croven is now the one bringing Charizard. I really doubt this is the case, but how hype would it be if this was beat up Zard? Stax has tons of Terracotta answers, but it would at least be hype. So Croven's Heatran looks super threatening here. Stax has like 1.5 answers. He's got Lando and somewhat Volcanion. On Stax's side, obviously what he wants to do is control the field with Gengar, pick off threats as they come, and prevent Croven from getting in a positive position. And if this is Stone Edge Lando, he's probably off to a good start. If this is Rock Slide Lando, then Zard lives one. Although I expect that Croven's going to be switching into Amoonguss anyhow. So Stax is going to want to Mega the Gar here so that he gets the Shadow Tag active. But it may just want to protect. Croven stays in with Zard. Now that is a bold strategy. It's trapped. It's going to get Rock Slid. The Lando does U-turn, presumably into a Moongus. Nothing else really wants to come in here. Maybe a Heatran can come in on a ballsy read, but it can't really get much going if Stax U-turns into Fake Out with Raichu or something. See, if you were going to read Stax the U-turn turn 1, why would you protect your Zard? I just don't understand like what play Croven was trying to call out here. And yeah, no Zard protect, just gets Rock Slide Sludge Bombed. So the Gar moved before the Lando, which means this is not Scarf, it is probably Assault Vest. So Zard can't even kill it, although with the U-turn chip, Overheat maybe can kill. If this is a fast Zard, it could outspeed the Lando too. So with like a Rage Powder Overheat, he could maybe redeem the decision to leave Zard in, but then you are -2 trapped against Gengar, so that doesn't seem like a good idea either. Stax may want to hard switch Volcanion in here as it's probably Goggles. He does not. Amoonguss gets taunted, but it's Mental Herb. Interesting. Heat Wave misses Gengar. Now that really sucks for Croven, because that's a 2-hit KO. But on the bright side, his Amoonguss was Mental Herb, so he can do that play again, and Zard won't die to Sludge Bomb. So overall, that was a good turn for Croven. The Lando is slower than the Zard, so it will die to another Heat Wave. And nothing really wants to switch in. Volcanion can, but it doesn't really like taking Zard's attacks. Although Croven doesn't have anything that super likes taking Volcanion's attacks either. He may have to sack a Moon to a Volcanion Heat Wave here. So a Solar Beam won't kill Volcanion. I'm interested to see whether he goes for Solar Beam, Overheat on Gengar, or Heat Wave, all of which seem like viable options. Amoon has to Rage Powder, because otherwise Charizard will die to Sludge Bomb, and Amoon will die to Heat Wave, which is the only play that Stax really wants to make. In terms of threat prioritization, I would say, if I were Croven, I would Overheat the Gengar, hope it doesn't switch. And if you can get the KO on Gengar, you're still in a bad spot, but it's a worthy trade, because Gengar really dismantles this team, apart from the Zard and the Lando. So Gengar stays in, goes for Taunt. Croven misses Heat Wave on Gengar again, Jesus Christ. And it's Goggles, so it gets the Steam Erupts now. Wow. That's really unfortunate for Croven, because that Gengar should be dead. And instead it's at full health. Trapping this Amoonguss that's taunted. And Croven has no super good switch-ins either. So he has his Lando, which is Scarf. That can come in an EQ, but Stax can switch Volcanion into Cress and start setting up with the taunted Amoon and the trapped Earthquaking Lando, so that doesn't seem like a good switch. He has Heatran, which in Sun, it can take a hit from Gengar and kill it. No, it can't. Not even in Sun, unless it's got Fire Blast or something. Or it can threaten Volcanion. He goes Lando. I wonder if he's going to Rock Slide. I think he has to Rock Slide here and just start being a flinch master. He doesn't really have the liberty to Earthquake when he can get trapped and set up on by Cress. But Stax switches out Gengar, and Croven does Earthquake. So again, don't ask me to predict anything. Now Croven gets some Karma here. Double dodge, but he's not Energy Ball Amoonguss. fucking pleb. So Volcanion lives. You should always be Energy Ball Amoonguss. Giga Drain healing is pointless. I don't know if Volcanion living is really that bad for Croven. It seems more or less fine. He can EQ again and switch Amoonguss now that the Gengar is off the field into, it'd have to be Cress. But Cress is, actually, I don't know if that's what he wants. I don't know what he wants. I don't know what Croven wants in here. He's so on the back foot with Gengar alive. Anything he sends in is liable to get trap killed. I don't know if I agree with the assertion that Volk living is nice because Gengar doesn't get to come back in. Because if Gengar came back in on Scarflando spamming EQ, I feel like Croven would be okay with that. It would be forced out after a couple turns anyway, and as it is, he's really pinned by this Volcanion. His only good switch in here is not a mon he wants to switch in, because the only thing he wants to switch in is Heatran. He goes Cress on the Lando slot. Interesting. I can't tell if I like that play or not, because it's not what I would have done. I'm trying to figure out the ramifications. Amoonguss is still taunted for another turn, so it can't Rage Powder here. And Cresselia is obviously threatened by Shadow Ball, will not KO, but will do a ton of damage. I think Croven has to CM with Cress, and Amoon will untaunt after this turn. And at that point, you need to Rage Powder and start threatening Gengar. But this is really hard for him. I don't really see a way Croven wins. He's absolutely being dominated by Stax. Gengar versus Zard is a really hard matchup for the Zard player anyway. There aren't very many easy matchups for the Zard player. Gengar taunts the Cress. Interesting. This Cress goes for TR, which it can't use because it was taunted. I'm wondering if Stax knew this Cress would be TR. I hadn't even thought about it. I was expecting Icy Wind again. But TR makes sense with a Moontran. So, that's on me for not recognizing that that was likely. So props to Stax for having better game sense than I did. Realizing that this was going to be TR Cress and taunting it. Now Amoon is trapped and can just be taunted again, as Cress can Psychic Gengar, but it won't die because Cress is really weak. And on Stax' side, his CM Cress is just setting up. It's ready to go to town. He can just see him again. Amoon protects to burn turns, but Stax doesn't even try and taunt it. He Shadow Balls the Cress, which Psychics the Gengar for 62. That's so sad. Cress is so weak. Now I'll say it again. Amoon can Rage Powder here. It will die doing so, but it's gonna die either way. And it does. Gengar Shadow Balls, so Stax has decided that, with Croven's switch options limited down to 4 Pokemon, he doesn't need Gengar anymore and decides to trade it for Amoon rather than risk getting spored on that slot. I think is what he was doing. He just said oh. So maybe he just forgot that Amoon had Rage Powder. But he's still in a pretty commanding position. With the CM Cress setup, Croven doesn't have the greatest answers to CM Cress in the first place. He doesn't get Sun on his Heatran, which I'm assuming is a Ruptran. And Terrakion Landers just don't do anything to CM Cress. This is Psychic Cress, so maybe it's not CM, because CM sometimes runs Psyshock. but that's probably just reading too far into it. Now the Genesect comes in, does not threaten Crest with a KO, I believe, because Crest is just super bulky. So if Croven is, I'm assuming, running that calc right now, if he is able to Trick Room here, then he can get his head back in the game. Unless this is Min Speed Volcanion. But Trick Room and then spamming Eruption will let Croven have some shot at victory. So he's, I'm assuming, checking if he can do it. Decided he cannot. As Gene just does U-turn, of course, into Raichu. Heatran takes very little from the Psychic, so its Eruption is still high-powered, but that is just a testament to how bulky Crest is. This has got to be AV Raichu again. We saw it was AV last game. The moves must be Fake Out, Feint, Nuzzle, Volt Switch. Those are the only 4 attacking moves I can think that Raichu would like to run. So this Landorus or Heatran are liable to be faked out here. And then Crest can throw an Icy Wind if he fakes out the Landorus. But Croven can go straight back into Crest now that Gene's off the field. I say that Raichu is Volt Switching here, as we can tell, because it didn't fake out. But it can't go back into Gene because Heatran's still attacking, so it goes into Lando. As Stax Moonlights. Yeah, he had to Moonlight there. An Eruption, I think, is now weaker than Heat Wave at this point. Oh, yes, it's Endeavor, of course. People need to stop playing important matches after 9 p.m. CST. That's when I go to bed. So, running on brain empty here, as Crest is going to want to Trick Room. And he's going to want to pray this is not Min Speed Volcanion, but given that Stax just went to it, it's definitely Min Speed Volcanion. So how does Croven get out of this one? He can sack Terrakion to a Steam Eruption and Psychic Volcanion for a KO. He can pray it's not Min Speed. It wasn't. Stax was bluffing. It worked on me, but it did not work on Croven. Now the Crest is at 26, although that was a crit Eruption. So, oh, he meant to be Min Speed Volcanion, but he wasn't. So Raichu fakes out Heatran here and Crest heals back up. Which means Croven loses all the momentum he just got, and he's going for a freeze on this Crest. I respect it. You gotta freeze to win at this point. With 2 more turns of Trick Room, Croven should be able to basically eliminate the rest of Stax's team. We know this Raichu can't protect. The Lando and Gene probably also cannot protect. So after eliminating the rest of Stax's team, it's going to be a 1v3, 1v4-ish situation on the Cresselia. And we're going to have to see, yet again, if CM Crest can pull off a surprise endgame. My gut tells me no, but wow, that did a lot of damage to Heatran. With Gene coming back in here, it makes me wonder if it is not, like, Protect Genesect. I've never seen a Gene run Protect before. It doesn't have, like, a Techno Drive in its reveal name, does it? When was the first time he sent it out? I'm going to assume it doesn't. Yeah, whatever. So no, it was just a bluff to get him to kill the Lando. Now Gene gets to come back in. You fool. You activated his trap card. And Heatran will die to another Psychic, while Crest will die to a U-turn. Hidden power ground Genesect. I guess Stax knew he was weak to Heatran. Now Croven just set Trick Room, and his other two Mons are faster than this Crest. I think he's in a dangerous situation. Terrakion comes in hoping this is Scarf Gene, and like Sash, Rack, or he gets a freeze. No freeze, no Sash. Must be like Vest or something on Genesect, so, or Expert Belt. Crest is dead, Lando's dead. Yeah, double missing Heat Wave on Gengar really sucked for Croven in the early game, and he was just never able to get any momentum. Now, he was kind of weak to CM Crest, so I don't want to say that definitely mattered, because he could have lost to CM Crest regardless, but it certainly did not help, and it kind of sealed the game right off the bat. And now we get a game 3. Cool, hype. And I'll have to look into turning off Twitch ads for next stream. I didn't even know you could do that. So don't worry, I won't be running Twitch ads after this. I don't think I ever introduced these players because they had already started. I don't know if I need to. They were both on previous streams of mine. They're two super good players. Stax got like the best results in the 2016 DOU tours, and Croven has mostly been successful in SM. Fox Mirror. Well, not quite. Croven's running Chalks, but these are very similar teams, obviously. Of the two, I think Crest has the advantage in the mirror, but it's mostly going to come down to player skill here. Ooh. I have often said that Fox mirrors come down to, who can paralyze the opponent's Sylve and Tran first. But there are other ways to win too. One is doing like an Amoonguss Spore lock where they can't switch because they have no goggles users left. And then you win with one of your sub-users. Another is a Pup Kang win after killing a Moon, but no one runs Pup Kang anymore because of Diancie. And these guys both lead Kang Lando. I prefer to lead Genies than Thok, but any lead is generally fine. And Stax with a veteran switch gets tons of chip on this Lando and this Kang. And the Crest, 19%. Crest is so fat. Oh my god. Stax sends in his own Kang right back in. Now he has the fake out advantage on Croven, but Croven does have back a Moon. So he doesn't want to take 33 like Croven just did. He may stay on Mega and fake out the Kang while switching his Moon out. Getting rid of the opposing Kang without taking too much damage through seismic tosses is basically the opening act of a Thok mirror. So far, Stax has done very well at that because a Moon can heal that damage right off. But it's not over yet. Croven's King still has some fight in it. And I'm assuming Stax doesn't want to take the exact hit he just dealt. So he's going to maybe make a hard read and S-toss the crest or double-edge the crest while switching his Amoon out. Of course, that opens you up to just getting S-tossed. So I'm not sure what the correct play is here. On Croven's side, he should probably just kill the Amoon or S-toss it and get whatever comes in. If Kang fakes out, it's not the end of the world. You have your Crescent, I'm assuming it's Goggles, and you can Icy Wind or start CMing right now. I don't know if this is going to be CM Crest, considering he has CM Sylve, but I don't know what it would be. Could be like Trick Room. So Croven switches and does exactly to Stax what Stax had just done to him. As Crest goes for Psychic on Amoon to kill it. Makes me wonder if this is Goggles Crest or not. Could be Helmet Crest. Helmet is super useful to slap on random things in XY to help the Kang matchup. Thunderous comes in, which has a great Amoon matchup, obviously, and a pretty good Crest matchup, but it doesn't want to take repeated Icy Winds because it has no way to heal. And it's kind of the defensive backbone of the team. As Croven just goes for damage on the Kang. The fact that he did not try and redirect anything makes me think this is going to be Helmet Crest. As if it were Goggles Crest, he would really want that attack to go into Amoon, as that would be a bigger win than landing an Energy Ball on Kang. So these two Pokemon are Heatran food, and I'm kind of wondering why Crest went to why Stax went to Amoon instead of Tran. I guess he wanted to stop a Spore, and this Heatran is Shuckaberry. But in that case, he could have taunted Amoon. So Heatran does finally come in. Thund T-Bolts on the Crest instead of T-Waving. Gets a solid 18%. And Crest has revealed Ice Beam. Now there's no way it's CM, because CM runs Icy all the time. So this has got to be like Trick Room, maybe Moonlight, 2 attacks, or like Helping Hand. Landorus does not threaten Heatran with an Oko, short of a Helping Hand boost. But Stax probably doesn't want to take a fat 80 on his Heatran for no reason, if he doesn't really have to. So he could be going back into Amoon here. He seems to like taking a bunch on Amoon, getting Regenerator, taking more. I mean, that's what Amoon is for. And it's fun to protect, as Croven just goes for the EQ on the obvious Shuckaberry, and Crest gets toxed. So Stax was obviously hard reading Croven, not going for that EQ, but Croven just did it. Thund reveals it is Protect, which explains why it didn't taunt earlier. And toxing the Crest is a weird play, I feel like, because we know it's not CM. And the Thund is max speed for sure, because it just flash cannoned, but now it's dead. So that information is helpful to no one. Stax gets a Sylveon in here, and with Landorus intimidated and Crest being Crest, this is as good a time as any to try and set up a Sylveon endgame. He's got the Amoon to redirect the Kang. He's going to want to start CMing, start subbing, and spam Hyper Voice to victory. And it's never too early to do that in a Thok mirror, really, because Sylveon is so good versus the other members of Thok, besides Kangaskhan, that you've got plenty of opportunities to do this. Sylveon is so good in XY. It's crazy that it took us until late 2016 to realize how good this mon was. Maybe even later than that. Knockoff Lando. That's cool on Thok because Goggles and Helmet are a large part of like the winning Thok matchup. but I don't know if that was the play here. You really want to get your Kang or your Moon back in so that you can pull off a fake out to let the Sylveon get some CMs. Now he shows Assault Vest by switching moves here, and Sylveon gets a CM anyway. Lando gets spored, but a +1 Sylve isn't going to get its sub broken by Heat Wave, so it can CM again. I think the first to use sub CM Sylve was Dog. Dog was really dominant in 2016. He brought over a lot of innovations from VGC that I don't know if the sub CM Sylve is actually one of those, but he brought over a lot of innovations from VGC that have totally been changing the meta. And Heatran gets a sub, which is a weird choice. So you need to focus on beating the Sylve, and that is not the way to do it. With Energy Ball Amoonguss, Amoon doesn't even like hit the Sylve sub super effective, but 2 Heat Waves will break a sub. So Stax has to at least be smart to avoid getting spored, because that's like the only way he loses at this point, I think, with a +2 Sylve. And this is why Thundurus is really important to Thought, is to stop stuff like Sim Sylve, because you can T-Wave it, taunt it, harass it, make it much less effective. Full Paras will hurt it, moving last will hurt it. I think T-Wave is better than Spore even on something like this. So Landorus has slept for 2 turns, could wake here. If it wakes, it can Rock Slide the Amoon for a kill. That would be helpful to Stax. And then he can sub again. Or he could even EQ. EQ, I hope for no Heat Wave burn. He Rock Slides. EQ would have broken Trans sub, but I don't know how important that is to Stax. Oh my god, Sylveon is so fat. I did not think its sub would live to Heatran Heat Waves. Croven's in a bad spot now. I think he knows it. That's why he's taking so long. At +3, I don't think even Kangaskhan can beat this Sylveon. I don't know what can beat this Sylveon. So it's going to be kind of hard to cast the rest of this game, because as far as I can tell, it's over, but it's going to last another 10 turns. The trouble is, I don't really know what Croven could have done differently. I mean, short of bringing Thundurus instead of Cresselia, which would have helped a lot. Kangaskhan comes in as the only Pokemon that can even damage Sylve. He should have faked it out. It would have broken sub on the first hit and then flinched on the second hit. But maybe he was afraid of a Protect. He attacked the Lando slot instead. And now Kang is dead and there's nothing that can damage Sylve. He's going to have to go for a lot of Rock Slide flinches. Which means he's going to have to not get faked out here. He's probably going to switch his Landorus out into Crest for a sec and then go back into Lando and start spamming Rock Slide and praying. That's exactly what he does. But Sylveon's going to sub here if Stax is not bad. Stax is bad. He should have subbed there to avoid getting Rock Slide. It's probably fine though. Ken can switch out, switch back in, do the same thing, and then Stax cannot make the same mistake. Heatran dies to a couple more Hyper Voices, so his shots at going for like a Heat Wave crit plus an EQ, I don't think are good. And Stax protects. Interesting Kang set. First of all, no Sucker or no Double Edge. No Double Edge would make more sense, because how often do you really click that? How many flinches does Stax or does Croven need? 5? He got 0. That's going to be game. Oh, grass to Stax. Now, I don't think Stax in the top 4 of this tournament is a surprise to literally anybody. He's really good. But it was a rockier road than I expected, honestly. I don't know if he would have made it without the flinch or the misses on Heatwave in Game 2. Sylveon is so freaking broken in XY. Holy crap, I can't believe it. There is no way for Croven to win at this point. He knows it. You know it. I know it. S-Toss and Heatran to break the sub and then put it in Hyper Voice range. That's what he does. Kang dodges a Heat Wave. That didn't matter. And this Sylveon cannot 1v2. Thanks for tuning in. It was fun to cast this one, even though I was, secretly hoping not to see a Thought Mirror at any point. So, I'll catch you guys next time with whatever I decide to stream. Thanks for watching.